Okay, look. Okay, so this is something that I want to try for a minute, right? We're gonna be watching a few scary stories, a few animated scary stories, and if y'all fuck with it, you know what I'm saying. If y'all fuck with them, y'all fuck with the videos, my commentary, you know what I'm saying. And if y'all like the video, you want me to do this again, tell me. Let me know what's up. I'm not gonna front. It's hella, bro. It's hella early in the morning. The sun ain't even close to coming up right now. We chilling. We chilling. You know what I'm saying? If you got to smoke, you know what I'm saying? Do you? And we finna get into serious stories. Without further ado, I'll leave all the links in
Not
the
making
description.
this video for attention, or sympathy, or anything. I just want anyone who can help me to do that.
I got you.
name's
What's up?
Daniel, and this is a story I wish I didn't have to tell. I've been a night owl my entire life. As a teen, I used to stay up way past midnight every night,
As we all
watching
used to.
terrifying videos on YouTube.
As we still do.
I know now
I
they
do.
were nothing compared to the horrors of the real world. Nothing compared to the tragedy my family and I went through.
At least I
The
watch these
story
stories.
I'm gonna tell to you now. My parents, being teachers, had always emphasized the importance of sleeping well to me, and would definitely disapprove of my late night routine.
Get your sleep in.
So I knew that if they'd caught me up at that time, I'd be in big trouble. At first, this wasn't a problem, but after I told them about a child predator in our neighborhood that I'd seen in one of my videos, they seemed to grow more and more paranoid, which was obviously understandable. Every night, I'd hear one of them wandering into my room, checking on me, and every night, I'd immediately turn off my light and pretend to be asleep. I never knew for
Make sure that
if it
baby
was
okay.
my mom or dad coming in, since obviously if I opened my eyes to see, they'd know I was awake. Mostly, I presumed it was my dad, from the heavy-sounding footsteps, but either way, I found it pretty hypocritical
Look at those feet.
for them to preach to me about being up late when they were awake themselves. Sometimes I wondered if they knew I wasn't sleeping, because often
not
it
your
was only
family.
after what seemed like hours before they'd finally leave and go
Somebody-
to check on Alfie. That's my little brother, and Lucy, my little sister. I'd have asked them about it, but I thought it would have confirmed any suspicions which they seemed to already have about my staying awake deep into the mornings of the next day. Like I said, I guess they were just paranoid about the child predator. It was stupid for me to presume any of these things, and I'll never forgive myself for it, but I did it all the same. Anyway, one day, Lucy's school, where my parents both work, announced a school trip. It meant they'd be gone at some point next month from Saturday morning to Sunday morning, and it meant that I'd finally get to watch the horror movie my friend had lent me, that my parents had refused to let me watch. There was one downside, though.
How old are you again? What the
I'd be
hell?
left to look after Alfie. He, being only 6 years old,
I'm not going front, bro. I used to watch. Hold up. I'm sorry. I had to pause it. I'm not even going front. I used to watch hella fucking scary movies when I was younger, bro. Well, I used to like wake up at like 4 a.m., 3 a.m. and watch scary movies, bro. That shit was lit. That shit was like that was like high school years.
my mom was reluctant to leave him in my care alone, but my dad defended me, reminding her that Alfie had been up most of the night after a nightmare, so he'd probably sleep most of the day anyway.
I hate nightmares,
Besides, he reassured her,
especially the ones
he's
when you die.
17. He can be given a little responsibility. With a heavy heart, my mom agreed. I honestly wish she hadn't. Finally, the morning came for them to head off. It took longer than expected because my sister said some of her favorite toy dolls had been stolen, but eventually my mom persuaded her that they were probably just lost and told me to look for them whilst they were gone. I begrudgingly agreed, and soon they were ready to go. As they were leaving,
Drink
my
water.
mom gave me a stern word, reminding me to lock the doors, not go to bed too late, and take good care of Alfie. She told me she'd be watching through the security cameras to make sure I was looking after him properly. I told her she really didn't have to worry. Then we said our goodbyes. and they were off. Alfie and I spent most of the day playing outside.
Security
but
cameras in
came
houses
in
are so
after the
weird to me.
Frisbee landed near a strange man who Alfie said had been in his nightmare.
But still necessary.
I told him that was ridiculous, because even if he somehow was in his dream,
For a house at
he'd be
least.
able to remember. Anyway, I went by myself to get it, and I have to admit that the man was fairly creepy. He had a huge grin, and his eyes, staring right at me, seemed to be permanently forced further open than they were designed to go. His clothes all seemed to have been made from someone 50 years younger, as they struggled to cling to his fully grown body. It was cold, but he was wearing a sun hat.
Why are you walking
A
towards
tiny
him?
one for children, which barely fit on his head. I recognized it, but didn't know how at the time. If I'd learned anything from the videos I spent my nights watching, I'd have abandoned the Frisbee and left. But clearly I didn't, because not wanting to feel like a baby, I
Dumbass.
approached him. As I got closer to the man, his smile disappeared, and he removed the hat and held it behind his back. I began to see his features in greater detail. He looked tired. He was pale and his eyes were bloodshot and had huge gaping bags under them. In the entire time it took me to get to him, the man didn't move an inch. Other than the
That's
odd
probably gonna be a
blink,
thumbnail.
not even his eyes shifted. At this stage, I was getting uneasy. I just wanted to get it and leave. Hi, can I have my Frisbee back, please? Thanks. The thought of that conversation, if you can even call it a conversation, still makes me shiver. I locked the front door as soon as we got home. We were both a bit shaken, and Alfie looked tired, so I gave him some more food and put him to bed. It took him about 2 hours to fall asleep. He kept complaining that he'd have another nightmare about that man. I told him he wouldn't, but he wasn't convinced.
I see him every night.
He whispered to me. Well, if you see him again, don't worry. I'll be here to fight him off. This seemed to settle him down.
You better actually whoop
and
his ass
soon He
too.
was fast asleep. At about 11, it was time to put my film
Anime
on.
fan,
I
anime
couldn't have my
fan.
mom knowing that I was watching it, so I did something naive and ignorant, and something I'll always regret. I turned off the security cameras. I watched it for 2 hours straight, my eyes never straying from the screen. Until I replayed the last few seconds of the film, but the sound didn't happen again. It was coming from inside my house. Alfie?
Turn off the lights. Yup.
He didn't reply, but I could see him under the covers, so I thought he was just asleep, and I didn't want to wake him up. I swear, if I thought anything worse had happened, I'd have checked. You okay? I thought maybe I was just worrying too much, hearing things. It was late, and the film had been scary. Maybe it was just all in my head.
Close the window. Why is the window open?
I knew from the sound of his
I'm
voice
sitting
it
up
was
there
him.
for a minute. Okay. Yeah.
Alfie! Alfie? Usually this much noise would have woken him up. Alfie, what's going on? I knew something was wrong. It was him. The doll. I couldn't believe it. It had to be some kind of sick prank. It had to be. But it wasn't. It was the man I'd spoken to earlier. He'd taken my
Oh
brother.
hell no, nigga.
Alfie!
Out the window. Okay.
I was certain they'd be gone before
Take the
I
long
could
way.
reach them. But he didn't set off straight away. He watched as I tried helplessly to do something.
Take the long
I
way.
screamed and I shouted and I banged on the windows and I tried to open the doors. But nothing worked. It was all in vain. There was nothing I could do for my brother, my best friend, as he was stolen away from me. It was too late for the police to do anything. It was too late for anybody to do anything. He was gone, and in time, I'd have to come to accept that.
You have 9 new messages. First message.
Hello? If you're out with Alfie, call me back when you get back in, please. Love you guys. Bye.
End of message. Second message.
Daniel, we've been trying to get a hold of you for hours. Is everything alright? Did you turn the security cameras off?
I turned off the security cameras. They'll be fine. The security system probably just glitched out. Hey, Alfie, just call us as soon as you can, okay? You know how Mom worries.
End of message.
You fucked up.
Third message.
You fucked up.
Listen, Daniel, we're starting to get really worried now. If you don't pick up, one of us is gonna have to come home to check if everything's okay. Please pick up.
You had one
End
job.
of message.
You had one
Fourth
job. Your little brother. And not to turn off the fucking camera. Why you turn off the cameras? This nigga.
Daniel, are you okay? Daniel! What's happened? Please answer. I couldn't bear to tell them anything.
How do you say it?
That was 7 years ago. We never found him. When I asked my parents if they'd seen anything at all of this man whilst they checked on us during the night,
I said.
they looked at me, concerned
said-
and confused. What do you mean? They asked. I could only stare at them in horror. Every night, around 2, you'd come and check on Alfie, Lucy, and me to see if we were sleeping.
Daniel?
They told me.
No,
we
we
didn't.
didn't.
The police wanted security camera
I
footage
told
of the
you
man,
that wasn't the.
but of course, there wasn't any.
That wasn't the
It
fucking.
automatically deletes any footage older than 24 hours, which meant I'd been mindless enough to stop it recording on the only night we could have seen him. You know, the
Fucking
strange thing is, I don't even know if I want Alfie to be alive. Because if he is, God knows what that monster has done to him. Sorry if I've gone on too long, but the guilt's been killing me. I had to get it out somehow. I only tell it as a story because, well, people like stories, and I want as many people to hear this as possible. Alfie, if somehow you're watching, I love you, and I'm so sorry. Please, don't lose hope. And to the man who took you, it's not too late. If you have any heart at all, and even if you don't, please, please let my little brother come home. To everybody else, if someone comes into your bedroom at night, open your eyes. You never know who it might be.
Come to whose
I
bedroom?
still stay up late at night.
Come to whose bedroom? Nigga, before I move out, nigga, I'm getting me a heater. I'm getting me a heater. Coming to whose bedroom? I bet.
But it's not because I don't want to sleep. It's because I can't. In case anyone sees Alfie, this is the last good photo we took of him. That's it. Stay safe.
This story's so sad.
Thank you.
If that story is real, that story is sad as fuck.
Thank you for sticking
And
around
if I
to the
wasn't-
end of the video. If you would like to support the channel, check out the merch link in the video description.
Lamarts. That story is so good. Honestly, I'm surprised he told that story because I don't think I could be able to tell that story to other people. You could just like imagine like the looks he gets. So like that shit must be tough. If that story is real. If I wasn't watching this with y'all, I would have been crying if it was real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right, and our second horror story is called "I Saw Myself Die That Day." Sheesh. I hate when I see myself die in dreams. Hold up, bro. I gotta talk about that. I hate when I see myself die in dreams, bro. That shit be killing me, bro. Literally. Like, yeah. Y'all know them Five Nights at Freddy's stories, bro. I think it was like something like that. They like picked me up. I couldn't do that, and they like dropped me into some spikes, and bro, my shit got, bro. I ain't gonna front. I was scared after that for like a week and a half, like 2 weeks, bro. I was always checking my shit. I was so paranoid. Them nightmares ain't nothing to play with. Nightmares ain't nothing to play with.
So, where should I begin my story? First of all, I recently got a job as an intern at a small company while attending a special high school. And from school, I had a friend who I hated most. He always spread false rumors, making my friends turn on each other, and never was sorry for what he had done wrong.
What a bitch.
Well,
Bitch ass nigga.
he was already a celebrity at that time. But this dude and I eventually got a job at the same company. Because I had the complete opposite character of him, we had a lot of fights at school. However, after I came into the company, I tried to control myself as much as I could and understand him no matter how much he said stupid things.
With the pink hair.
My friends ended up calling me Buddha. But the incident eventually happened 2 weeks after my first day of work. I can't tell you the specific details to protect the company's privacy, but his mouth was absolutely a disaster. Our school teachers had to come to the company. We both had to have a face-to-face talk with the executive director, and we even had a call from the education office.
This nigga's fucking up.
I got so angry. I couldn't bear this stupid situation anymore. I ran down to the first floor material storehouse, confirmed that there were no people, and spat out all kinds of curses calling out his name. Shit, I'm gonna blow off your head, you son of a... But it was the biggest mistake of my life.
Somebody heard your ass, huh?
The warehouse used to be a place where people didn't come very often. But when I looked back casually, he was there. He was just staring at me. My heart was pounding, and I felt like my head all stopped. Holy crap. There was a
busted
bleak silence between us, and I could feel that awkwardness in my bones. But soon he just turned around and then went out of the warehouse. Feeling sorry, I thought he got hurt feelings, so I followed him. I called his name several times, but he never looked back and just walked down the hall. At first, I felt sorry, of course, but come to think of it, it was literally all his fault, and he had a responsibility to fix this problem. So why should I apologize to him while being ignored by him? All of a sudden, I started to be outraged at him. I stopped there and I screamed at his back. He suddenly stopped walking, and at that moment, I was like, oh shit. You know, we're still working for the same company right now, and I can't make a mess of my plans in just 2 weeks. So I apologized to him to ease the mood by calling my friend's name again. Then he turned his head slowly, and, I still can't forget that creepy memory until right this moment, writing about this incident. To tell the truth, I'm about to go crazy. His neck slowly turned toward me. You can believe it or not, his body was standing still in the same position, but only his neck slowly began to turn. A loud crunch sounded in the hallway, as if his neck bone had broken. And I just watched it, blankly. He was staring at me with his mouth closed, and his neck turned slowly and slowly. As he turned his neck, the skin around his neck began to twist. And when he finally turned around for about a turn and a half, his skin tore with a tremendous sound. The blood rose like a fountain, and his neck dropped on the floor with a loud thump. Then his head rolled towards me, and stopped at the tip of my foot. Looking down, I could see his head showing with all his teeth, and he was smiling brightly at me. When I saw that horrific head like a broken tomato, all the cells in my body were screaming to get away from there as soon as possible. It was someone's footsteps that broke the silence that seemed to last forever. And only then I screamed frantically. My colleagues told me later that they could hear my voice on the second floor. Well, I can't imagine how loud it was. Anyway, I could feel someone shaking my body violently not long after.
That scream, though.
The next thing I knew, the executive director, the section chief, and everyone in the company were looking down at me with a surprised look on their face in the hallway.
Nigga, are you good?
I was sitting on the floor before I knew it, and he was gone already.
I know.
I was taken to the hospital right away that day because I spit blood on my hand while coughing. I couldn't remember how big I screamed. And while I was explaining the whole story at the hospital, I heard
like you were just
something
seeing
incredible.
everything.
One of my colleagues told me that my friend was working in his place at the time, and he was even so busy that he never came down to the warehouse on the first floor. I couldn't believe it. Eventually, I took a week off from work and got a psychiatric consultation.
It wasn't him.
And 5 days have passed since then. I heard that he was dead. On the 5th day, the director came in early in the morning and opened the door of the company as usual.
How'd you get by?
While he was working in the office on the second floor, he heard a loud bang in the hallway. And when he went outside, he found my friend had hit his head on the marble floor, and it was all smashed. He died just like that.
Damn.
Later, when the director checked the CCTV at the police station, he found that my friend quietly climbed the stairs while he went into the office and closed the door. He just stared downwards for a while and jumped off. I guess the director must have been
Why,
shocked. He eventually had to go to a psychiatrist for a while. When I came back to the company,
Two niggas had to go to
there
a
was only
psychiatrist.
silence inside the company, which was unusual. Anyway, I was just playing with my cell phone while I was writing this, and I just got a call from the chief. He asked me if I came down to the first floor on Saturday morning while I was on my alternate work. I was working on the second floor in the first place, and I couldn't go down to the first floor until lunchtime. So I told him I didn't. But then he said something strange. He was smoking in the outdoor parking lot that day. Then he suddenly turned his head toward the warehouse window on the first floor. He said that I was standing inside and staring at him quietly in the dark warehouse. He continued to say that I looked at him for a while and then disappeared.
He's fucked.
At first, he didn't want to say anything hasty, but he finally called me thinking about my friend who died a few days ago. Well, to be honest, I'm in a panic right now. I mean, I've calmed down to some extent, but I'm still scared. There's something I didn't reveal while writing earlier. I remembered it just now. When I'd seen my friend's fallen head that day, I actually saw the face coming toward me. It was neither my executive director nor the section chief. It was me. I could see my body walking toward me with only my head turned back. So, the reason I screamed was not that I saw my friend's fallen head. I screamed at myself. My parents have gone on a trip right now, so there's nobody at my house right now. Now, what should I do? My house right now. My parents have gone on a trip right now, so there's nobody at my house right now. Now, what should I do?
Why did they end it like that? Hold up. Okay, so if you guys if you guys like that video, if you guys like watching, you know what I'm saying, like watching the scary stuff with me, so basically if you like the video, can you go ahead and like the video real quick if you didn't like the video? But if you do like the video, you know what I'm saying, tell me in the comments, hit me up on my phone, you know what I'm saying, do something to let me know, because I want to start making videos like these. So I appreciate you for watching.
Money
you know what
for
I'm
it.
saying?
Even if I did have the money,
Peace out. See you next
you know
video.
what I'm saying? I still wasn't worried though, you know what I'm saying? No, I don't wear no Gucci, huh? No, I don't wear no Louis, huh? I ain't gonna wear no Supreme, and I never try no lean, huh? I wear a big bound like to skate. I wear Vans and I do my dance. I like Levi's, I shout wise. Can I get a Men's 10 in my size?